Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's live video. I am so pleased because I'm going to interview one of my beautiful clients, Veronica, and we are going to share her success story here with you on how she was able to go from waking up feeling heavy and starting her day feeling really lighthearted and positive moods and feeling excited about the day. So thank you so much, Veronica, for being here with me on and doing this live stream. And let me now go into here. And so thank you so much for being here, Veronica. Let us hear a little bit about what do you do, and share a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, sure. So first of all, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I do. I'm an entrepreneur and I manage my own company, and more specifically within real estate. And a little bit about myself. Yeah, well, we're all on this journey, aren't we?
Yeah.
What we call life. And we like exploring the possibilities that's within me, and using different kind of techniques to be able to tap into the resources and use that in catapulting both my business and also my team.
So exactly. So what was the big challenge for you before you started to work joining my program?
Well, that's a good question, but I would say that I was very preoccupied with my mind. My mind was like controlling how I lived, and also sort of like being convinced that I was wrong in one sort of way, because for me, like, the society way of doing things just didn't work out. And of course, an individual, it's easier to think that there's something wrong with oneself than to think, oh, maybe it's not my environment that's suited for me.
Yeah. So what was, yeah, exactly. So yeah, exactly. And I so agree with you. It is way too much stress and living up to some kind of expectations, and it doesn't really fit. It doesn't feel too good on the body, but we have so many habits and routines of how we are used to working and doing things, but it just leads to exhaustion, and not really liking who we are as a person. And so with that, basically, so what was the big problem for you within all that?
Well, you described it very well, because it is the exhaustion part. I was using so much energy on being something I was not, and to fit in I thought what I had to do to wear this, to be masking, and it just drained me completely. And I've been so used to that because I've been doing that pretty much my entire life. Sort of programmed into this way of living, and you just come to a point where you just realize this doesn't work. I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah. And so when you exactly, I mean, I've also gone that road myself. And so when you say that you got tired of like putting on the mask, so what was the challenge, or what was the problem, let's say, with that?
Well, putting on the mask?
Yeah.
It's this feeling, a very bodily sensation of uncomfort, and it's like a very fear-based way of living, because when you walk around with those masks, you always assume that I always assume that being myself was not good enough. So I needed to be this kind of person, this role, able to have success in order to be loved.
Yeah.
And it really took a toll on just existing. And I remember just walking around thinking, is this it? Is this what life is going to be?
Sounds so familiar. I think I asked myself that question, so many years, ever since I was small, like little child, and until I figured out this, that was in my 30s. So I so much recognize myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I did that too. I've just since I was a child, I always felt different in a way.
Yeah.
And without, the thing is, when you're feeling this kind of way and you don't have like the support of people around you in that way, because maybe we had like some sort of support, but it wasn't, they didn't understand, and they couldn't help me guiding me towards becoming who I am. And so instead of someone like following you to getting to know yourself and to becoming your being, it's like you adapt and you hide your being to be able to work in the environment.
Yeah,
and that
exactly.
and that takes a lot of energy.
That is exhausting. That is the recipe of exhaustion.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like it's really it's like the recipe of how not to love ourselves.
Yeah.
It's like stealing the natural self-expression, I feel.
Yeah, I agree.
And also like I'm always really naturally inspired listening when you're talking. So it's like I get so much, like ideas and my own reflections. But it is really so interesting because yeah, it really is all about that, the kind of liberty and the freedom when you are, let's say, comfortable with like with yourself, but more than comfortable with yourself, it's more like you're trusting yourself in a much deeper way, and so in that you're just able to let go of whatever tension might be in the body, and and all of this like things, how we are like thinking about to fit in, basically. Whether if it's in a family dinner, or if it's in I don't know, like in a social gathering, or if it's in general, just like in general, I think also living life.
Yeah, I think so too. And it's about when you're able to accept yourself for who you are and to release all that tension, gain so much, and you're able to just be within yourself, walking around and just feeling good. And it's like, yeah. You know, the way you feel, it's also reflected sort of outwards, and then it's like your environment becomes more welcoming. And I'm not talking about that in a sense of that people are, if you are yourself, then people will be kinder to you. I'm talking about the perspective of the view of the world, and that it keeps building you up. And it's so wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hallelujah. It truly is. Yeah. Yeah. And so do you feel that, like, how have this program helped you to recognize, let's say, that call it the world, it is a friendly environment, it is a friendly place. So what would you say?
Well, there are many things actually in this program. So, first of all, it's like the way we talk and the way you help me reflect. It really helped me, especially in the beginning, while like grounding, and just being with whatever comes up and acknowledging that, and like whatever comes. Embracing it because then it's so when you embrace, for example, like sadness or joy, whatever it is, instead of labeling this as bad and this is good,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
that's a way to tap into that energy.
Yeah.
And to accepting yourself to be in the now also, where there's a lot of power, and combining that with different exercises like you gave me weekly, you get this repetition of the mindfulness. You get the repetition of the reminding yourself the good practice and being in the good states. So that's it. You just keep on going back to the good states.
Yeah, right.
Not
Exactly.
necessarily label it, but you know what I mean, the feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then and also doing like exercises because we did a lot of work in recognizing old patterns and like liberating myself from that, because it's so easy to think that it was me. And then I also would use like shame to stay in certain situations that weren't necessarily good for me. And when you helped me then to release that kind of shame and to release that attachment to what was, that was me but wasn't, that also gave me energy. And what that does with the work, we did it together, and also I did practices by myself.
So
And
so I just want to say, so it maybe becomes easier, like for the viewers, because it's such an interesting point what you're making. It is like when you're saying that, because it wasn't me, like the shame, it wasn't me, right? And so because. And that, I think, is such a, I mean, it's so gigantic to just realize that, because we are identifying ourselves so much with these kind of belief systems that we are carrying around, that I am to blame, I'm feeling ashamed, I'm carrying, for example, guilt. Now I'm talking in a general perspective, not only in your particular case, but it's like, but then we are carrying around these emotions, and then we have identified ourselves with them. So we are now become this, we have become formed from our life experiences. Yeah. So we have like become this version that we kind of just want to become liberated again. And so that's what you're sharing. So I just wanted to say that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's fine. It's easy for me to just assume.
Yeah, because it is such a, but also this work, it's very creative.
Yeah, I agree.
So it's like when we are talking, then we are so much talking from our experience, and then but sharing it from that angle, it's it's just really nice to even pinpoint it even more.
Yeah, we're co-creating.
Yeah. Yes, we are.
And yeah, so I'm gonna try to like remember what I was talking about, but when you release, the more you release, the more room there is for love, and the more room is for self-acceptance, and also the realization that that comes with that you are, for me, that I wasn't my thoughts, or that I weren't these ideas and everything. It also gave me a sense of realization that I am much more in charge of my own well-being than I thought.
Yes.
So it's also kind of like going from sort of like a victim mentality to like a creator mentality.
Yeah.
And so much feeling of power in that.
And
strength basically within yourself. So not power over someone else, but the
this is like amazing. I just love it what you're saying, and I'm just like, woohoo! It's like so great. And And it's and so what's the value in that, to be so aware of your own inner well-being, like you have the power over that? What's the value,
Oh
would
my
you?
God, life changing.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah,
you
nobody
wake
did.
up and the world is a beautiful place.
Yeah.
It's amazing, and you get and the value is all the possibilities of from watching, like, this is all happening to me, this is exhausting, this is tiring, and I have to do this and I have to do that, blah blah blah, and I have to relate to this, to waking
Yeah,
up,
yeah, yeah,
wow, I get to do all this I want to do. I
yeah,
can actually do
yeah,
what I want to do.
yeah,
Maybe it will take me some time, maybe it's not the way I thought it would be, but you know what, you just start to embrace it and
yeah.
everything is so much lighter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
And
yeah,
then
exactly. Yeah. So would you say then that your habits have changed?
definitely.
Yeah. Yeah.
So instead of like having the mindset of heaviness or feeling of heaviness, and being more like, um, well, maybe not even having those good habits.
Mm,
It's been much easier. I've been trying to incorporate habits in my life for many years because I
mm,
know how good they can be for me. Uh,
mm.
it's like I haven't been able to do that,
No.
but since we started to work together, it's become much easier for me. And
Yeah.
I, one of the reasons is exactly what I said about tapping into yourself and acknowledging and the energy that it gives, and the resources that I could connect with through
Mm,
work we did. And that
mm,
made it so much easier for me to establish these habits. And also um, the practices that you gave me, the exercises, were also
mm.
like forming, helping me form habits.
Yeah.
So having someone external sort of that I needed to, uh, when I couldn't push myself, then I had to answer to you, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Right. So there is this part of accountability.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's, and that
Exactly.
worked very good.
Focus as well.
Yeah.
Because there is one thing, when we are going to learn something by ourselves, whereas when we have somebody who actually are holding us accountable,
Mm.
and then it's so much easier, like our focus, instead of like we are by ourselves and then it's like, okay, let's just slide back to our old habits, and then we're like, oh, how really does this work again? But then getting those daily reminders or weekly reminders, and then it's like, yes, because something about like being in the energy as well of
Yeah.
somebody who already are there as well to
Yeah.
really tap into.
Mm. Yeah, that's
So
made a huge difference.
yeah, yeah,
Definitely. Also, it's like you can feel the way it's working. It's like I have experienced so much just by choices I started taking,
yeah,
and
it's
that,
amazing.
yeah, it's amazing, and I've never done that before, and that opened like the world to me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, a
And so,
place.
so what is it, that made me curious, like what choice, if you could choose like one choice to share, or
Okay,
or
so
just
maybe
like
the
on a
most
general basis, like on your health, for example, like
more
or
specific,
say it again.
I would say that the most important choice that I did, or that you helped me do, was realize, first of all, to be aware of, and
Yeah,
then being able to choose myself.
yeah, yeah,
Because and that was, for example, in health.
yeah,
So an old pattern of me is, for example, to I don't know, eat candy when I'm stressed,
yeah,
or watch some old series on the
yeah.
TV. And but then um,
Yeah, this is a
instead
good
of
example. I already see where you're going. This is so good. You don't need to say anymore.
oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah,
Um, so instead of doing that, for example, I would go and do like a releasing or loving kindness meditation.
yeah,
And then I would come back to myself, instead of distracting myself. That
Love
was
it. I love this. Such,
and
I mean, I just love it so much. It's such a enormous difference, like also like there and then, and also in the long run, because it's like all about our habits, So if we're feeling, for example, oh my God, yeah, I just had some, like, for example, an ongoing thing or something that usually makes us feel stressed out. And instead of then coming home and then watching Netflix, then we actually choose instead to, yeah, as you're saying, you can do a beautiful meditation and just to return back to your center.
Yeah.
And so now you're like, okay, now I'm reconnected again. And now you're actually bringing your awareness up. And it's like, okay, so what really is the best for me to do in this situation?
Yeah, that's a very good point too, because when, for example, I did that meditation and coming back to myself, I was in a much better position to recognize within me, what do I need?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
I'm distracting myself,
Yeah.
that would not be what I
Exactly.
think what I need was not what I actually needed.
Exactly. Because that's like a reaction.
Yeah.
But now it's like a respond.
Yeah.
Like responding with like awareness and conscience.
Yeah.
What do I need? And it's like, okay, I don't need to become afraid and scared, because then I go back to old ways of doing things, and then I'm freezing and procrastinating. Again, I'm not talking about you, but it's like this could be one of my earlier patterns, and it's like I don't do anything because it's like I'm sort of frozen. But instead, I'm actually returning back to my center, and I'm like, okay, I'm choosing. So what is it that I actually need? I'm like, you know what? I actually choose to believe in faith and love.
Yeah.
And it's like, I know, because that's really the way forward. And then I'm liberated. I'm like free. I'm like, okay, cool. No problem. I continue.
That's it. And it gives you so much more energy.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Strict and like, now come on, you need to push through this, you need to do this, you can't stay still. It's like, and using that kind of, because that's shame, you're just shaming yourself into doing things, and then you react and distract, whatever, and then you're whipping yourself back in. But that just, it kills the spark.
Yeah, it really does. It really does.
And I don't believe, after experiencing the other way, loving myself and being able to tap into that energy, there's no question for me. There's no other possible way forward.
Yes, right. That is, I love that you're saying it so like that. This is how it is, and I love that. I really do. It's amazing. I felt it.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, it's like it's a decision. It's like a decision.
And well, I need to just point out, because I'm not going to make it. It might sound easy, but it's not. It's a lot of hard work, and it's like I've fallen back into my old patterns again and again. But what I then do is that I look at it with kindness instead. Yeah. And you've taught me about that, and just almost like a pat on the shoulder. It's like, okay, that's what you did now. That's okay. We'll try again. We can do it again. Amazing. And instead of choosing to go down like that old road, when I'm started going there, I can stop, and then I can say, wait a minute. So I get conscious about it, and then I go back to the road path, and then I love it. I'm gonna take right, because
I love it. I love it. I love it so much, really. Yes. It reminds me also, and it reminds me about that quote. It's not about the destination, but it's about the journey.
Oh, definitely.
Isn't it?
Yeah. Just realize this in this life is like we've been we've been tricked into believing that the destination is what everything is about, but then what that makes us do is that it makes us continue to chase this dream, and every time we get there, we don't have time to just stop. We just have to chase even more, and that's when you sort of look at it from an outside perspective, that's just crazy.
Mm.
What we do then, we never get satisfied. We're never happy because there's always going to be something else that's better all the time. So when we just change our perspective and then say, you know what, it's about the journey, then we sort of like relax a little bit more. And and then we have time to, like, if we're imagining this road, we have time to take a look around, to see the sun, to see the maybe the treetops, to hear the birds singing, whatever. And then you realize, wow, this is not too bad.
Exactly. Right? Exactly. And then we can add our own love, let's say, like our own flavors as well, like with our personality, because now we are more present, we are feeling fully alive, and it's like, I'm enjoying myself, I'm having a good time. And so now we really can give our love, our presence, our full attention, creativity to whatever it is that we're doing, if it's a conversation, if it's our work, if it is, instead of, as you were saying, just okay, it's all about chasing whatever goal, and then it just becomes so square and so ice cold, and then we end up like, oh my god, I don't like this.
Yeah. Like, feel the tension. It's like,
Exactly.
Realizing, because it's so easy to think, oh, but it has to be like this because that's the way it's always been, or it looks like everybody else is doing it this way, so that must be the right way.
Exactly.
But for me, it's become more and more clear that we need to recognize that my path is not the same as your path. And it's more important to find my own path or to be in my presence, and able to also co-create with other people, or with relationships and everything. Because if we're either in the past or if we're in the future, neither exists. It's only our own ideas and thought about them. We're here right now. This
exactly.
Connect to our inner beings, or love, or what you want to call it. Exactly. This is where the energy lies.
Exactly. It's so much beauty and value in being present and not being everywhere else in our minds while we're doing something, but actually being here.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful, yeah. So what do you think, where would you be where would you be now if you weren't joining my program?
Oh, I would be like still stomping around in my own old habits and patterns. Maybe not as much as before, but I would do. It's like when you're trying to walk this road alone, it's much more difficult to see where you're going to go. It's much more difficult to observe your own mind. It's basically almost like impossible. So I think I would be like, stomping around. I think for me, it's a good expression, because it felt like, standing in mud and not being able to put one foot in front of the other. And so it's sort of like, I would probably also be more taking decisions based on fear. And much more a higher degree, and which will also take a lot of energy from me. I would be more tired, exhausted. For example, for the first time, I think maybe in my life, here it's the darkness. But you know what? It's like the darkness outside doesn't create the darkness inside of me. Because I like this seasonal depression thing, but not anymore.
It's the weather, the dark winter in north. Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, just this very small example of basically exactly where I would be if I weren't. Because
and this is exactly. So it is like what you're sharing and saying. It is that when the environment within inside of you or of us is feeling, call it comfortable, relaxed, self-love, like we just feel so good, then obviously then we are like inspired to take action on the things that we need to do.
Yeah.
Or also want to do.
Yeah, becomes much easier.
Yeah.
So like the inside reflects, the outside reflects the inside instead of opposite.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so what would you say, Veronica, if there is somebody watching right now that are sitting on the fence and are not sure if they want to book a call with me to talk about this program, what would you say to them?
Well, first of all, I would say take a leap of faith in yourself and in Helena, because I know it's always scary, you know, life and change. It is. But it's like we can choose to walk with fear, we can choose to walk with love or believe and faith.
Yeah.
Always take the hand of love and faith.
Yeah.
It will take you to magnificent places.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay, so that's the great advice from you there, Veronica. So thank you so much for joining me and allowing me to interview you. I'm super appreciating of that. And also it was really wonderful to hear about all of your successes and the transformation and where you are at now, whereas where you were before. So it's really amazing. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
And yeah, and to all of you who are here and watching this interview, I am recommending you to book a call with me. And so you'll find the link somewhere around here, the video, and get on a call with me. And on that call, we will go through what are your goals, then what is stopping you right now from achieving the results that you're wanting. And then as well as I will give you a personalized step-by-step what you need in order to get the results that you're wanting. And so with that, thank you all for being here and staying with us and watching our interview, and wish you a beautiful day.